Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Puan Moderator, Dr. Sharifah Munira, ahli-ahli panel yang bijaksana, Prof. Osman, Dr. Farouk, Prof. Syed Farid, para hadirin yang budiman. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Peace be with you. Saya akan memberi ringkasan dalam bahasa Malaysia kerana kita dimaklumkan bahawa kalau boleh gunakan dua bahasa, ringkasan, ucapan saya dalam bahasa dan lepas tu ucapan penuh dalam bahasa Inggeris. Saya bermula dengan ringkasan dalam bahasa. Tajuk yang saya pilih adalah tentang pengaruh impak geopolitik terhadap perpecahan Sunni Syiah. Tajuk ini jarang dibahas dan dibincang, termasuk di kalangan akademik dan aktivis. Apakah pengaruh geopolitik terhadap perpecahan Sunni Syiah? Bagi saya ada dua peristiwa utama dalam zaman kontemporari yang harus diberi tumpuan, yang membawa kepada ataupun memperkuatkan perpecahan Sunni Syiah yang berhubung kait dengan pengaruh geopolitik. Pertama, revolusi Islam Iran pada tahun 1979. Yang kedua, serangan dan penguasaan Amerika Syarikat dan Britain di Iraq dan akibat daripada penguasaan itu yang membawa implikasi besar pada soal Sunni Syiah. Ini adalah dua peristiwa geopolitik yang penting yang membawa dampak, impak pada hubungan Sunni Syiah. Yang pertama secara ringkas tentang revolusi Islam di Iran pada tahun 79. Kalau kita cuba memahami apa yang berlaku pada 79 itu, cara negara-negara di rantau Asia Barat bergabung untuk menghancurkan revolusi Islam dan sokongan yang mereka dapat daripada kuasa-kuasa Barat, kuasa-kuasa besar pada keseluruhannya, termasuk Soviet Union pada masa itu, untuk mematahkan, untuk menghancurkan revolusi Islam. Tindakan mereka itu, cara mereka bergabung, cara mereka bertindak adalah bukti yang ketara tentang geopolitik. Mereka gagal kerana selepas 40 tahun Iran masih wujud dan masih setia pada prinsip-prinsip umum tentang revolusi Iran. Itu yang penting. Ini adalah satu usaha yang begitu teratur untuk menghancurkan revolusi Islam atas sebab-sebab yang berbeza. Kerana setiap negara kumpulan ada sebab-sebabnya. Kenapa mereka tidak mahu revolusi Islam Iran ini? Antaranya adalah faktor-faktor yang berhubung kait dengan sistem feudal, faktor-faktor yang berhubung kait dengan soal kuasa dan percaturan kuasa di rantau Asia Barat, perhitungan-perhitungan tertentu, soal-soal tentang ideologi, juga soal tentang Sunni Syiah. Ini adalah antara faktor-faktornya. Yang kedua yang saya sebut tadi adalah tentang serangan. Pada tahun 2003, Amerika Syarikat dan Britain terhadap Iraq dan kesan daripada serangan itu. Kerana ini adalah satu peristiwa dari segi sains politik, hubungan antara bangsa yang sungguh menarik. Kerana kalau kita kaji secara mendalam apa yang dirancang oleh pihak-pihak tertentu, mereka menganggap serangan terhadap Iraq, penguasaan, sebagai satu usaha yang akan ubah sama sekali peta Asia Barat dan Afrika Utara. Itulah maksud mereka. Mereka nak ubah sama sekali. Dan seperti mana berlaku dalam keadaan-keadaan tertentu sepanjang sejarah, cerdik pandai memain peranan juga. Salah seorang individu, kita jarang dengar namanya sekarang, yang mencetuskan idea ini yang begitu jahat adalah Fuad Ajami. Fuad Ajami yang mahu ubah peta Asia Barat dan Afrika Utara. Kerana dia punya perhitungan bahawa sekiranya Iraq dapat dikuasai dan golongan yang sekular dapat menguasainya sepenuhnya, kerana Saddam Hussein dah sekular, tapi yang lebih sekular tapi pro-barat. Sekiranya mereka dapat menguasai dengan kekayaan yang ada pada Iraq, minanya, kekayaan dari segi air, kerana Iraq ada sumber air yang begitu penting. Dan bagi Israel masalah besar bukan soal minyak. Masalah besar bagi Israel adalah air. Dan mereka nak gunakan penguasaan ini untuk mengatasi masalah Israel. Dan harapan pihak-pihak yang merancang ini bahawa melalui serangan dan penguasaan ini, kedudukan Israel menjadi lebih mantap, lebih stabil, dan penyokong kuat kepada Palestin, iaitu Saddam Hussein, batis mereka dapat dipinggirkan, dihapuskan. Tapi ini tidak berlaku. Yang berlaku selepas serangan, apa yang berlaku itu terbalik. Jauh berbeza daripada apa yang dirancang. Kerana akibat daripada serangan, akibat daripada proses memperkenalkan demokrasi, yang diperkuatkan adalah majoriti penduduk Iraq, iaitu Syiah. Majoriti penduduk Iraq itu Syiah. Mereka diperkuatkan. Dan sebahagian besar daripada elit yang mengganti Saddam Hussein, sebahagian besar daripada mereka sebenarnya mendapat perlindungan politik di Iran pada satu masa dulu. Dan hubungan mereka begitu rapat dengan elit di Tehran. Ini tak masuk dalam perhitungan politik mereka. Dan itulah sebabnya selepas peristiwa ini, kedudukan Iran itu lebih kuat. Tapi bukan Iran yang merancang ini. Yang merancang ini Amerika Syarikat. Itulah sebabnya ahli politik Amerika Syarikat yang terkenal, yang memahami politik Asia Barat ni, Wen Cole dari Michigan. Wen Cole, dia pernah berhujah tentang peristiwa ini. 2 tahun selepas serangan Amerika Syarikat, pada tahun 2005, dia kata, the Iraq war is over and the winner is Iran. Without firing a single shot, they won. So itulah yang berlaku. Iran jadi lebih kuat. Dan selepas itu ada beberapa peristiwa yang membantu Iran menjadi lebih kuat. Dan itulah sebabnya musuh-musuh Iran dan musuh Syiah, mereka menganggap ini sebagai satu cabaran, ancaman besar kepada kedudukan mereka. Dan usaha untuk menggabungkan beberapa golongan-golongan untuk menentang Syria wujud pada masa itu. Apa sebabnya? Kenapa Syria? Satu, kerana kepimpinannya Syiah, Alawite. Tetapi yang lebih penting, Syria adalah negara yang menghubungi Hizbullah dan Iran dalam apa yang disebutkan sebagai the triumvirate of resistance. The triumvirate of resistance di kawasan itu. Resistance kepada penguasaan Barat, Iran, Hizbullah, Syria. Dan Syria memain peranan penting. Itulah sebabnya mereka cuba menggulingkan Bashar Assad. Tetapi usaha penggulingan ini dibentangkan kepada dunia sebagai satu krisis antara Syiah dan Sunni. Walhal ini bukan krisis Sunni dan Syiah. Kerana kita tahu dari segi beberapa faktor-faktor, termasuk demografi Syria, termasuk kedudukan kabinet Syria, angkatan tenteranya, termasuk dari segi keluarga Bashar Assad sendiri, isterinya Sunni. Ini bukan soal di Syria, Sunni, Syiah dan sebagainya, tak penting. Tetapi ini dijadikan sebagai isu besar untuk rekrut penyokong-penyokong seluruh dunia oleh pihak-pihak yang merancang ini, termasuk dari Malaysia, Indonesia dan sebagainya, untuk menentang Syiah kononnya di Syria. Walhal ini adalah untuk memenuhi rancangan dan komplot pihak tertentu. Nah, itulah dua faktor yang memperkuatkan isu Sunni Syiah ini dari segi geopolitik. Kita harus mengatasinya dan ada beberapa cara-caranya. Antaranya apa yang dicadangkan oleh Prof. Osman, ya, kita kembali kepada unsur-unsur perpaduan di kalangan umat Islam. Selain daripada sufisma dan interpretasi atau tafsiran kepada syariah yang lebih terbuka dan juga kepada falsafah yang saya setuju, ya, antara negara-negara yang kekalkan falsafah adalah Iran kalau dibandingkan dengan beberapa negara-negara lain. Ya. Saya masih ingat di USM mata pelajaran pertama yang dikorbankan selepas 3-4 tahun tertubuh USM adalah falsafah. Ya, kerana yalah, ada beberapa sebab-sebab, tetapi itulah masalahnya. Dan selain daripada itu ada faktor-faktor lain yang harus kita ambil kira. Kita harus cuba mempertingkatkan kerjasama antara dua-dua kumpulan ini, itu penting. Kita harus kembali kepada message Amman sebagai satu usaha yang berlaku pada tahun 2004-2005 untuk menyatu padukan umat. Kita harus bukan saja sebarkannya, kita harus memberi interpretasi kepada message ini, peranannya. Kenapa begitu penting kita mendaulatkan message ini? Ini yang harus diberi penekanan. Dan kita juga harus dalam keadaan yang wujud ini sebarkan, memperkuatkan kefahaman tentang geopolitik. Apa yang benar-benar berlaku, supaya kita ini tidak terperangkap, supaya kita ini tidak terjerat dalam satu interpretasi tentang realiti yang bertentangan dengan realiti, yang bertentangan dengan apa yang benar-benar berlaku, di mana kita salah fahamkan benda-benda yang begitu asas. Itu penting. Ya. Setakat itulah saja ya dalam bahasa. Ada masa lagi ke? Ada. Macam mana 5 minit kita ya, tujuan saya nak bagi ucapan dalam bahasa Inggeris ya. So ya sekarang ringkasan ya. Yeah. So very quickly in English what I just said I think most of you would have understood, but for the benefit of our friends from outside, yeah. The main points that I attempted to make just now was that there have been two major events in recent decades which show very clearly the impact of geopolitics upon the Sunni-Shia divide. One is the Iranian Revolution, 1979, because that's the revolution which in some ways began in the contemporary era this sort of antagonism towards the Shia amongst the Sunnis. Of course, There have been problems between Sunnis and Shias. Both sides are responsible for those problems. That's part of history and the evolution of our history. But 79 is special. Why? Because the Saudis interpreted it as a challenge against the monarchical system, the revolution that took place. They saw it as a revolutionary movement which would upset the calculations in that region. And this was a view that was shared, of course, by the Western powers, who were very unhappy that the nation that served as their linchpin in that area, Iran, under the Shah. Don't forget that next to Israel, the country that was most important to Western imperial interests in that region was Iran, under the Shah. Now the Shah was overthrown, and they'd lost their grip upon a vital actor in that region. This is something that we must keep in mind when we try to understand what's happening today. Because don't forget that before the 1979 revolution, the monarchy in Saudi Arabia and the Shah of Iran, they were very good friends. They were very good friends. There were no problems between the two, problems which we are faced with today. At that time, they were on very good terms. And I used to say, the reason is quite simple actually, because both of them, they were facing the same Qiblat. And the Qiblat was Washington. That was the Qiblat. They were facing the same Qiblat. Washington was the Qiblat. So they were in very good terms. Things changed after the Islamic Revolution because, as you know, as any student of the Islamic Revolution will tell you, the Islamic Revolution was premised on the basis of strengthening Iranian independence. That was Khomeini's message. Independent, not part of the Western hemisphere in that sense, very proud of one's own tradition and history and all the rest of it. There were strong points, there were weak points, but nonetheless, there was a certain notion of the Iranian nation, which of course the West didn't like, and many of the Gulf monarchies did not like, because they saw it as a challenge. And don't forget in that connection, whatever one may say about Iran, Iran is one of the very few countries in the world, both north and south, east and west, which has continuously held elections at various levels, in spite of all the difficulties. And these elections have been quite open in many instances. Let's not forget that just a few months after the 1982 massacre of a large number of members of parliament, leaders of Iran, including people like Ayatollah Beheshti and so on, were all killed. Within a few months, they held elections because that was the schedule. They followed that schedule. They have been faithful to democratic elections. And the last elections for the Iranian presidency, if you look at the candidates who were part of the thing, it was perhaps the most highly educated list of candidates for the presidency of any country in the world. So they have been faithful to certain traditions and values of that sort. And what is unfortunate is, of course, the media has given a different impression. So the point one wants to make is that the Iranian Revolution brought all these forces together. They failed to stop the revolution and whatever it has achieved in the last 40 years. And then I think the other very important turning point was the invasion of Iraq. They had planned something, as I said in Bahasa just now, it didn't work out. Instead, inadvertently, unwittingly, those who had planned the overthrow of Saddam Hussein have to strengthen Iran. I suppose there may be divine explanations for things like this, but this is what happened in reality. They strengthened Iran in the process, and Iran has continued to play a role in that region. It's true that today, Iran is much more influential in 2019 than it was in 1979 in that region. Its influence in Iraq, obvious, partly because of the change that took place. Its influence in Lebanon has increased as a result of its link with Hezbollah. Hezbollah itself has become a major actor in Lebanon. So it's true. it has changed in that sense. Influence in Yemen has increased. So Iran is an actor that you cannot ignore. In a sense, for all his other shortcomings, the US President Barack Obama, he realized this, which is one of the reasons why Barack Obama was very, very supportive of the nuclear deal. Because his argument was, as you can see from the analysis of the nuclear deal, his argument was you cannot ignore Iran. Iran is a major actor in that region. And the deal was a good deal. It was the right thing to do. If you look at all the details of that deal, which was, of course, in a sense, scuttled by President Donald Trump. So from a historical point of view, in terms of contemporary changes and so on, Iran is a major actor whose role should be taken into account. And for us in Malaysia, because of international politics, trade, and so on, they are one of the major buyers of our palm oil. All those reasons, I think we should continue to have good relations with Iran. Relations have been somewhat turbulent, and there have been problems from time to time, but that's largely because of domestic politics. This is an example of the impact of domestic politics upon foreign policy. Because you have a segment of the ulama in Malaysia who are very anti-Shia, irrationally anti-Shia. If you ask them to explain and try to reason with them and say, look, what are the real factors, they would not be able to reason these with you. But the consequences, which I'm sure other speakers will deal with more eloquently, the consequences have been horrendous. Arresting people, like even the recent arrests in Johor and in Selangor. This is a tragic infringement of human rights, where you deny people their basic right to observe their own rituals and their own practices. We're not talking about propagating the Shia version of Islam. That's a different matter. I personally feel that it has problems if you sort of encourage propagation as such, but this is practice, and we must understand the difference between the two. Just practicing. If you happen to be, round up now, you happen to be Shia, and there are Muslim families that have got a Shia background in this country, if you look at it historically, and they want to practice their faith, they should be allowed. And the dialogue has to continue, understanding has to continue, but this is not happening. I feel that a great deal depends upon the young. If we continue to succumb to this vicious, malicious type of thinking, which is not based upon Islamic teachings at all, the antagonism towards the Shia, and for that matter, Shia antagonism towards the Sunnis, that is perhaps much more obvious in countries like Pakistan or in certain parts of the Arab world. But in Malaysia, the Shia community is hardly a community. They're families. It doesn't even exist. But nonetheless, you find that there is this sort of antagonism and misunderstanding. We have to continue to correct it. And my appeal has always been towards, one, the ulama, be open-minded. Try to listen. Try to understand what is happening. Don't be blind, unthinking followers of a particular type of Islam. And that impacts upon all of us. Even if you're not concerned about the Sunni-Shia dichotomy, generally the way in which one approaches Islam, it is as if we want Islam to be projected as a religion that is against thinking, against reflection. And I think that is wrong. Islam is in fact a religion that is strongly motivated by reflection and by thinking. And this is why the challenge before us goes beyond the Sunni-Shia dichotomy. It is to get people to think, to understand, to reflect, and to act. Thank you.
If I may summarize, I think I took away a few very important ideas. Basically, one of it is the need for us to revive the Amman message. It has somehow faded into the past. A very good message signed by very important leaders of the Muslim world, yet I don't see it being revived or being paid attention to. The second is the need to understand the connection between geopolitics and problems of the Muslims. We tend to forget, at least definitely in Malaysia, we do not relate the problems that the Muslims are facing to the larger, bigger picture of conflict between big powers. We tend to think of it separately, but there is a connection, a definite connection, a very real connection. And thirdly, sectarianism in Malaysia, it actually should not exist because the percentage of Shias, for instance, are minuscule, yet the antagonism is so great. So we need to figure out where this antagonism originates from. Is it from the majority, the minority, or from outside? Without me going on, let me invite Dr. Farouk to deliver your speech.